Now, this video is going to be a little bit different. This video is actually being done as part of a collaboration between 10 other wine and mead makers. This challenge was sponsored by Man-Made Mead and Doing the Most YouTube channels. And what we're going to do is that we're going to be using 4 primary ingredients. We're going to be using mangoes, corn, hot peppers, and honey to make a mead. Hope it turns out well. In any event, more on this later on. Hi, I'm Charles and welcome to DIY Fermentation, your site for doing fermentation on a shoestring budget. Now, these are the other channels that are involved in the collaboration. Some of them are well established and many of them are up and coming. I strongly suggest you check them out, and you can find links to these channels in the comment and description section below. Now, to make my version of this collaborative effort, I'm going to be using 8 pounds of fresh mangoes. I'm going to be using 4 cobs of fresh corn on the cob. I'm going to be using the seeds of 1 large jalapeno pepper. 6 pounds of raw 100% clover honey. For this one, I think I'll use a Red Star Premier Côte de Blanc wine yeast, straining bags, enough filtered water to bring our measure up to 2 gallons. Going to need something we can do primary fermentation in, preferably one with a wide mouth opening. We're going to need something to do secondary fermentation in. I've only got one 1-gallon carboy available at the moment, but we're going to be using 2 of those. Airlock wood stopper, a hydrometer to help us determine our alcohol level at the end. And of course, using your sanitizer of choice, make sure that everything has been properly cleaned and sanitized. And that is what I'm going to be using to make this mead. In this part of the operation, we want to do the following. We want to cut our mangoes in half. We want to scoop out the insides. We want to give them a rough chop. Into the straining bags they go. And then into the pan, ready for the next step. All right, now that we've got our mangoes in the straining bags, next thing I want to do is I want to extract the seeds from my pepper to give us our heat. All right, what seeds do I have to work with here? Now, if it's not showing up on camera, I'll just freely admit it. These seeds are flying everywhere. So I'm going to corral all these seeds up, and I'm going to get them also into straining bags. I need the seeds for heat, but I think I will add some of the flesh as well, just to give it a little bit more in the way of flavor. Now, after shucking our ears of corn, being careful to remove as much of the corn silk as possible during the process. All right, we are now ready to put them in the pot. Now I've given our corn cobs another good rinse and removed any remaining silk that might have been on the corn. And the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and add a gallon of our filtered water. Hopefully getting as much of the water in the pot as possible. And after that, we are going to turn on the heat and bring this to a boil. And now that I look at it, I actually missed some of the silk. We're on this corn right here. All right. We're going to filter this anyway, but there we go. Let's bring this up to a boil. Now I've cooked the corn until the corn was cooked. And I'm going to go ahead and remove 2 of these kernels, or 2 of these cobs. Let's make it 3. And I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to go ahead and add in our fruit and peppers and seeds. And I did add that little tough fibrous part of the fruit to extract as much juice out of that as I possibly can. I'm now going to turn off the heat because I don't really need to cook the fruit. I just need to kill off any stray yeast. And I'm going to let that temperature come down quite a bit before we add in our honey. As for the removal of these cobs of corn here, well, those I'm about to eat. As soon as I grab the butter, I'm going to chow down on those because they're really not needed for what I intend to do next. Now that our mixture has come down to a nice warm temperature, I mean, it's not hot really. I mean, you can keep your hand on it. I'm going to go ahead and remove our corn. They pretty much have done what I want them to do, and that's to impart some flavor. I basically needed the juice. And following that, I'm going to go ahead and add our honey. My freshly sanitized spoon. Let's go ahead and get that honey in there. And yes, I am going to go back and rinse these bottles out because I want every last little bit of this honey goodness added to my mixture. All right. With that having been done, and yes, I will go back and add the rest of this honey to the mix. But after that's done, I'm just going to put on cover and let it come down to room temperature so we can move on to the next step. Now I've taken the opportunity to temporarily remove the straining bags because I want to find out just how much liquid we actually do have. This is a 3-gallon fermenter, and even though it is measured 1 gallon on up to 3, little tape will let me know just how much extra liquid I need to add, and it looks like I need to add about a good half a gallon of water. So let's see, let's go ahead and add some more water and then put our bags back in. All right, let's go ahead and add some of our water. Bring it up to 2 gallons. Which is right about there. All right. Put this somewhere out the way. And let's go ahead and give this a good stir. I mean, a really good stir. Let's get some air in there. And now would be a good time to take that hydrometer reading. All right, I'm going to let some of these air bubbles settle down a bit before I give off that reading. But now is also a good time to go ahead and reintroduce our straining bags. All right, looks like our hydrometer reading is coming in at 1.10. All right, let's go ahead and begin this process of turning our juice mixture into mead by simply adding our yeast. Again, it's half a teaspoon of wine yeast that we're using here, trying to spread it around equally as best I can. And with that having been done, all I need to do now is just put on the cap. Okay, it is now time to label our creation. What we are creating is I can get this on there straight this time, more or less, close enough. What we are creating is a mango corn pepper mead. We started it on this date, and our original gravity reading started in at 1.100. Now then, for the next several days, we are going to give this a good vigorous stir, 3 days to be exact, after which we're just going to leave it alone. We're going to let it sit in primary probably for a good 6, maybe 7 days. Mangoes are kind of quick, so probably 6 days. Then we'll transfer it into secondary and begin the process of letting it go through secondary and bulk aging. But there we go. Mango corn pepper mead is my attempt at the collaborative effort project. Hope it turns out well. Okay, it's now been several months later. The wine is finished. I've already submitted it to our hosts over at Doing the Most to do a comparison between mine and several others that have turned in theirs as well. And quite frankly, you can find a link, if I can get this right, you can find a link to their site for this video for the final results. I hope you like what you saw here. If you did, please click on the subscribe and notify button, and I'll continue to do more videos in the future. Until then, I'll see you.